Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Culture Club. Finally back. Feels like a very long hiatus, although it's probably not as long as I'm thinking. Back here with Tom. How you doing?
Very well, thank you, Noel.
That's good. And I know there was a great study done on pathway lighting last year. It was probably released this year, that really inspired us to have a think about pathway lighting, and some of our team members, including yourself, went out and took some observations and wrote down some stuff, didn't you?
That's right. I think the first thing that we need to note is by no means is what we did a study. And we talked about doing a greater study, but we just kept going around in circles, and we said, you know what, let's just go to some sites and see what we learn just from that.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can expand upon that.
Yeah, we don't necessarily have the resources now, but hopefully we can inspire other people to ask similar questions that we're asking and make similar observations, and then maybe one day have an impact on the industry in a positive way. So from what I know, you went to 3 different sites that were lit with Bega, and took some observations on how you felt, centered around safety a lot, but then also just anything else that was sort of coming out at the time. One thing I thought was quite interesting was the first site you went to at Moore Park, which was a pathway through a big open field where they just illuminated the pathway. So what were some of the thoughts that the team had at the time?
Yeah, and that was a site which I had seen from the highway quite a few times, and I was particularly interested to look at. It's extremely well illuminated in a standard sense. Lots of horizontal, lots of vertical. The uniformity is extremely good, and we're very interested to see, knowing that there is a blank park area on either side, how that would feel. And the big thing which our team observed is because those areas were being used, there were a lot of instances where people in those areas couldn't be seen, but they could be heard. And they found that quite disconcerting.
Yeah, and then on the third site, there was quite a lot of trees that sort of overhung the pathway. Someone said that they had a sense of almost claustrophobic from that, sort of encasing you in. But others thought that the light on the shrubs was actually quite nice. What were some of the other thoughts from that side?
So again, very contrary to what my hypothesis was, in that I thought people would find it comforting. We thought you would like that because it creates a nice ambience. And what I found particularly fascinating is that our team tended to find that the ambience was better from the overhanging trees, which was not surprising, but they didn't feel more safe. And I was really intrigued by that these are 2 separate things.
One end is a lot brighter than the other end. Tell us about how people felt walking into darkness versus walking out of it.
Yeah, this is, I mean, those glass half full people will be saying, oh, it's great, because walking into the light generally feels quite pleasant. You're walking towards a brighter area, but as soon as you do that, you've now created in the opposite direction, that you're walking out of the light. And I think these non-uniformities, in the sense of really going from quite dark areas into quite bright areas, do make people feel less safe by default, because if it's into the light one way, it's into the dark the other way.
Yeah, certainly a challenging one, because it's something you can't really avoid. Eventually you're going to have no light. It's just something I guess needs to be really considered for a project. And
well, I think it just goes to show why councils and end clients really need to be employing lighting designers to do proper master plans, so that people have a full understanding of what the various different light levels are going to be. It's particularly topical when you talk about big train stations where, again, due to safety and security, they're tending to light them extremely bright. But if you're going to come from a train station which is, let's just say, 100 lux, 200 lux, and then you're coming down to a pathway which is still illuminated to Australian standards but may only be illuminated to 7 lux, that's a massive drop off of light, and could actually be very disconcerting to be walking away from that station.
I'm also wondering how the technology of the industry has affected this. Like, we know there's reflective technology, lens technology, and we've become very good at efficiently lighting just the pathway. So it's quite interesting that technology has almost led us down that path.
Yeah, and I suppose you ask why these questions are only coming up so now, and I suppose that's because with LED lighting technology, we've been able to be so much more efficient and so much more directional with the light sources. that some of the effects that we're seeing between having a very bright pathway and much less bright surrounds, which is creating a high contrast between these two, had not been apparent until now. So we're really starting to learn a lot more about that, and because we've got more control now, we can witness all these different sites and see what the effect of that is. And I think we've still got quite a lot to learn there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you for sharing some of the thoughts and opinions and stuff, as we call it. It is very interesting. We don't always have the answers, and we certainly don't on this occasion. We encourage you all to, next time you're walking along with a friend through a dark pathway or a well-lit pathway, ask them what they think about it, and start to challenge the way we think about pathway lighting. I think would be a good result of this discussion.
And certainly by no means are our opinions the only opinions.
Yeah.
We want your opinions.
Yeah.
We want to start discussion, even if it may be a rant that against what we're talking about,
Yeah.
but we're just keen to start the discussion, really.
Yeah. So please give us your comments, your feedback. We'd love to hear it, and hopefully see you in the next video. Thank you.
Thank you.